Should you train to failure? My answer is no. And I got this answer based off of the article that I'm getting ready to read to you from mindpumpmedia.com. Why training to failure and deloading is the best way to gain muscles. Welcome to the Success Fitness Podcast. I am your host, Christian Evans. This podcast is for women and men over 30 who wants to achieve success in their fitness journey. And I'm going to help us do just that. But I got to ask you, do you believe in training to failure? I don't, and I'm going to tell you why, but first, a word from our sponsors. You know what? I've been jonesing for pizza lately, but I'm trying to get better at eating better, not eating out so much, and subscribing to the we got food at home mentality. So I chose to cook what I bought from Sam's. Salmon prices have been so high, but Sam's had it $5 off today. Last week, I found a bag of quinoa there for about $8. Since my vegetable supply of meal prep was running low, I also picked up some fresh broccoli. By the time I realized it, I had cooked everything in my e-cookbook, What to Meal Prep for Beginners. Not only will you get 3 recipes for one high-protein meal under 600 calories, you'll also get a free workout ebook. Get 10% off when you sign up to my weekly newsletter. The link will be in the description and the link tree in my bio. Download your copy today. Thank you so much for tuning in to the Success Fitness Podcast and sticking around from those ads. You know, we got to put the ads in to give people a notice about what we have going on or honor our end of the bargain in these sponsorship deals. But anyway, I came across this article titled Why Training to Failure and Deloading is the Best Way to Gain Muscle, written by Joe Tallarico of mindpumpmedia.com. And it was very interesting in the thought process on why some people train to failure and why you should and shouldn't. I don't necessarily believe in training to failure, and I'm going to get more into that. But first, I got to give you a update about what's going on with me and my juice fast. I don't know if I want to call it a juice fast or a puree, because I have been pureeing up some meat along with some other vegetables as a soup, because a lot of times at night I get cold from drinking juice or drinking a smoothie. I'm constantly cold, and when I'm cold and when I get cold, I get hungry. So that's been my way to combat that. But I am officially down 37 pounds. Today is day 52 of my juice fast, and I'm pretty excited. I'm close to 40, and I'm close to 40 pounds being down. I need my overall goal to be 60. My overall goal is to be down 60 pounds. And I'm going to get more into that later on in the podcast at the very end. But let's go ahead and jump into this article on why I believe you should not train to failure. But we're going to get more information on how I came to that conclusion by reading this article right here. Imagine a non-pharmaceutical performance device that can help you breathe easy, reduce exercise fatigue, and shortness of breath, all while improving your cardio performance. It's called the Breather Fit. The Breather Fit is evidence-based, drug-free respiratory muscle training, or RMT for short. It's designed to help athletes of all levels, elite military professionals, first responders, and people with physically demanding roles like you to gain an elite performance edge. Unlike most other respiratory trainers, Breather Fit trains both inspiratory and expiratory muscles. The independent dial system allows you to create highly targeted training protocols as well. With over 2 million units sold, Breather Fit is the next evolution in RMT. It was developed from the success of the Breather Health device. It has also been used in clinical applications to help chronic respiratory illness and help patients regain function and quality of life. Simply put, the RMT protocol designed to work with Breather Fit means working out more effectively and accelerated recovery from your workout. With Breather Fit, all it takes is 10 breaths for 2 sets, twice a day, 6 days a week. You can also record your performance to get useful and timely feedback with the Breather Coach app. Breather Fit is your secret weapon to maximize performance and meet your personal best. With Breather Fit, you work hard, but breathe easy. Use my code FITBREATHE at checkout to get 20% off at pnmedical.com/product/breather-fit. The link will be in my show notes. Should you train to failure? My answer is no. And I got this answer based off of the article that I'm getting ready to read to you from mindpumpmedia.com. Why training to failure and deloading is the best way to gain muscle. So I'm going to read off this article to you and give you my 2 cents on what it really means to train to failure and deloading. We are all trying to find the best way to gain muscle and make the most out of our efforts in the gym. And I've always heard about deloading or training to failure, all the ups and downs. So with that being said, let's go ahead and get into this article, and you can have the same judgment call that I did. So this article is titled "Why Training to Failure and Deloading is the Best Way to Gain Muscle," right from mindpumpmedia.com. And it starts off: when I first started lifting, I was always told to train to failure, that if you weren't sore the next day, you didn't train hard enough. While there is some merit to that advice, it isn't 100% true. As is most things in this fitness world, that answer lies somewhere in between. I'm glad this article started off like this, just like this, and especially the line, "As is most things in this fitness world, the answer lies somewhere in between." There has been so many ways that I think I've been taught to, do said exercises or whatever, right? And as I've come to find out in maturing in my weightlifting and my fitness journey, is that there are so many variations. There are so many variations to do certain exercises that how can you commit to only one, right? Going back to the article. Why train to failure? The science behind training to failure is creating the most tension on the muscle. The more tension you create, the more muscle fibers that get recruited. If you don't train to failure, you aren't maximally stimulating every muscle fiber. Pushing a weight to failure maximizes the mechanical tension that is produced. There is a term called effective reps. Let's say you're doing curls for at least a set of 10. Now, not all 10 reps hurt, right? Usually you can coast through the first 5 or 6. After that, the burn kicks in and it gets significantly harder to finish those last 3 to 4 reps. That is called effective reps. Some coaches believe it is only under these last few reps where muscle growth occurs. Because of this, then you may come to programs that focus more on how many effective reps you can get done. This is definitely true. So I don't necessarily believe 100% in training to failure. I never have. That was never part of my mentality. I'm not saying that mine is right and somebody who does think this way is wrong or right. That's just not my mentality. Going into working out, lifting weights, like right after this podcast, I'm going to the gym right before my client and training legs. I'm going to train legs. I'm going to do some squats, some barbell, stand up, sit down squats, some walking lunges, some calves, and I'm going to get out those nasty little kettlebells, which I hate. But I never go in planning to fail. I never go in planning to, I'm going to do every single rep until it burns so much that I won't be able to do anything else, or it'll just burn to failure. I just never had that thought process. I never had that thought process going in. I don't know if I should have. I don't know if that would have made a difference in body goals or achieving body goals or whatever. I'm not sure. I was just always under the mentality of I want to finish what's on my plate. I want to finish eating what I'm served. If I got 15 reps, I'm doing 15 reps. If I got 25 reps and I stop at 20, I'm going to take about 3 to 10 seconds and jump back in and finish the last 5. That's just always been my mentality. It's not to failure in my eyes. So when I came across this article, I found it interesting on what certain people may believe in that regards. But effective reps, see, I get it. When you're doing some bicep curls, like those last maybe 8, not 8, but rep number 8 in a set of 10 or a set of 12 can start burning. I normally like to go anywhere between 12 and 20 reps. It just kind of depends on the day. It depends on how much coffee I've had. It depends on how much green tea I got on deck. But it's usually about the 8th rep in, let's say, my set of 15. Let's go with 15. That the initial burn starts to kick in. That initial burn, like, okay, I'm going to have to tough these last 7 out, because it's like, about a little bit, halfway point, just about right. If I'm going to 15, so I got about 7 left. So like I said, that has never been my mentality to train to failure, but I understand why some do. Going back to the article, why can failure training be bad? The downside to the above is the cost that it takes to get there. If you train every single exercise at every set to failure for weeks and weeks, you have to consider what toll it takes. What is that volume doing to your body? How hard are you pushing your joints? I'm very familiar with this because you can just keep pressing and keep pressing and keep pressing, and that will take its toll on your body. You're pressing because you want to see what this body can do. You want to see what your mind can go through. How tough are you? And it's cool to go through those experiences. It's cool to, know your limits. It's cool to get right to the point to where you say, okay, that's enough. I know how far I can go. There's no problem with that. But what does that look like? What is the overall cost? There's been some times where I've just been running for days on end, and almost weeks on end. Then eventually that volume of running, and that could have been anywhere between 2 to 4 miles a day for about 5 to 6 days a week for, let's say, about 3 weeks straight. I remember I went on just a running tangent for about a month doing that. And eventually my feet started becoming uncomfortable. My knees started to get uncomfortable because I don't want to say believe, but let's go ahead and say that. I didn't believe in the recovery aspect. When I say believe, is that I didn't do enough research on the importance of it. I didn't think that I needed it. I was, younger, 33, 34, somewhere around there. So, you're in that mentality of, I'll just sleep it off. I'll just walk it off. So that's what I mean by, not caring about it. Because if I did, I would research more and I would have taken the proper precautions. That was back then. But, that started taking a toll on my body. And that caused me to take a week off, and just try to recover. Going back to the article, you don't want to be training to failure all the time because it's not worth the risk. At a certain point, you risk overtraining and spending too much time recovering. If all your days are spent recovering, that's less time and thus less overall volume, which stimulates muscle growth, building the muscle. You want more frequent shots at stimulating the muscle, not just taking off days. This is more crucial for compound lifts that hit a lot of muscles and utilize a lot of weight. Imagine maxing out a super heavy squat every week. It isn't sustainable. And going back to my correlation in regards to running and the volume of running. Now let's go with weights. Let's see if I've ever experienced this with weights. I have. I was bench pressing a lot at one point in time, probably about 3 to 4 days per week. And eventually my elbows told me, you got to chill out. And lifting heavy with a high volume of reps. I like lifting heavy for high volumes of reps. I don't like lifting heavy for 1 or 2 reps. Now, don't get me wrong. There are certain weights that you don't have any other choice, like attempting a PR. But everything leading up to that point, I'm trying to lift as heavy as I can for as many repetitions as I can. And eventually that took a toll on my elbows, and I had to take some weeks off in regards to the pressing movement that I was doing. I was still working on chest, but I started utilizing the dumbbells in regards to dumbbell flies. Started using the cables in regards to cable flies. And that's when you become more creative and innovative in your workout routine when you may have an injury, or not even an injury so much as opposed to I just need to rest that muscle or rest doing or executing this exercise for this said muscle group. But you can possibly still work on that muscle group, but it's just a different way you got to go about it. So going back to the initiation of this article, when it said that as is most things in this fitness world, the answer lies somewhere in between. So a lot of answers that you want in the fitness world, they lie in between what you should do and what you shouldn't do. And I believe what lies in between is your experience. Let's go back to the article. The solution. So we know training to failure can be good, but too much is bad. So the solution is to allow yourself to tap into failure training occasionally. Studies have shown training 2 to 3 reps shy of failure produces the same, if not better results than those who train to failure all the time. Let's not forget, you're also allowing more recovery and it's less taxing on the joint, so you are winning all the way around. So it goes back to my position. Should you train to failure all the time? No. I don't believe in that. And this article pretty much backs that up. Going back to the article, and a quote is that the solution is to allow yourself to tap into failure training occasionally. The other morning, I was with my client on Zoom, and I was demonstrating the exercises that we were going to do for the next up and coming round. And it included some dumbbell lateral raises. So I grabbed my 10-pound dumbbells and I was executing the exercises with them. And my lateral head of my delts. And so that's when you are doing dumbbell side raises. That's the muscle that you're working, your lateral head. And that's one area that I do want to focus more on over the next few months, just getting my shoulders just better developed. And we executed the exercise for 30 seconds, and about the halfway mark, 15 seconds, that's when the burn started kicking in. And I just didn't want to stop. I was like, let me finish these last 15 seconds. Now, don't get me wrong, my muscles were burning, and especially the second set that we did. So we ended up doing like 3 sets, but mainly towards that third set, man, that pain started kicking in maybe 10 seconds into the block. We execute the exercise for 30 seconds, the movement for 30 seconds. So by the third round, executing these lateral raises, and my delts are on fire. My lateral delts. But I can say that I finished it, but I understand about the training to failure. I didn't want to train to failure. I knew I had a couple more seconds left in me. I knew I had just a little bit more time left in me before the time went out. So I understand getting close to failure. You're trained to, because when that muscle starts burning, that lactic acid starts building up, everything gets tight. But that's where winners are made. Where you just want to quit, where you want to stop. And it's, if you can endure for one more rep, you can do one more rep. And as you set the weight down to your side, you ask yourself, can I do another one? And you keep repeating that until you get to the point to where you fail. Getting back to the article. The issue is most people don't know what true failure really feels like. What they think is failure usually ends up being 4 to 5 reps shy of actual failure. So this is where occasionally adding in failure training can work. I'm still feeling my side delts to this day. I did that exercise Monday, and today is actually Thursday. So I'm still feeling that burn. Back to the article. So my suggestion is to take a 4 to 6 week training block and spend most of the time 2 to 3 reps shy of failure towards the end, or possibly alternating every other week, including some failure training. This will allow you to reap the rewards of both worlds. You will also finally get to experience what true failure is, so that it may better inform your other weeks of training without spending too much time on failure. Now they're going into the deloading aspect of it. So now we know including some failure training while staying mostly in the 2 to 3 rep shy zone seems to be a good setup. At some point, the volume will still add up. After a 4-week training period, you will presumably continue to add more weight and more reps. Hashtag more weight than the week before. Think about how much more volume you've gotten to by week 4 compared to week 1. Again, this is not sustainable. A deload week should follow. After you have accumulated enough volume, you'll hit that point you can't beat the week before. This means that your body has hit its limit and needs a break. A deload week is when you do half the intensity and volume as your normal training. You are going for a super compensation effect where you give your body a week to recover and catch up to the acclimated volume and fatigue you've generated. By doing this, you will ensure better gains than trying to fight through the plateau without rest. So that was the article titled Why Training to Failure and Deloading is the Best Way to Gain Muscle, written by Joe Tallarico, written on April 3rd, 2023 at mindpumpmedia.com. And I will have this in the description or the show notes of this podcast so you can go back to read this for yourself in full entirety. I like this one. This was short and sweet and right to the point. And so basically what I'm getting out of this article is that everything has a time and its place. You can't train to failure all the time. You can't not train to failure at all, or not get close to it if you want to gain muscle. If you want a significant way to gain muscle, if you want a significant way to gain muscle, you have to push yourself. You have to push yourself. And being that I am a personal trainer, I'm watching constantly my clients push themselves to what their limit is. And I hear it over and over again. I would not have been able to do this if it wasn't for you, if you weren't standing here pushing me. And that's not saying that to pub myself up and go into a spiel of how you should go to christiansweightsuccess.net to look at all my personal training options, and especially those are in the Peoria, Illinois area. If not, I can write you a customized workout plan. So it's not a pub to do that, but it's more so when you feed off the energy of somebody else who is encouraging you, because one way or another, we all have this, I don't know what it is, what you want to call it, but this thing to prove ourselves, right? To not look or be a punk in front of somebody, especially when you're working out, right? And it's okay if you do, whatever that looks like. And it's okay if it's like, you know what, I can't do that amount of weight. I can't do that amount of reps. And I've also heard that before they've even tried. And once they get to going, they do more than what they thought. They do at least one rep. And that was one more rep than what they thought they could. And sometimes we can psych our own selves out. We can psych ourselves out into not doing something because it's the failure of the pain that may ensue about the lactic acid buildup, that pain. You know, I'm not talking about pain where it's excruciating and I'm getting ready to injure myself. No, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about just the overall pain of just, you know, working out, the ripping and tearing of the muscle fibers, you know, and some people will push themselves more than the next person would. And being that we're in this visual society, social media is causing a lot of comparison, and comparison is a thief of joy. So just be careful when you're watching videos. I don't even care if it's mine, because you never know where somebody is at in their set. You never know where somebody is at in their reps, in their totality of working out. We're just seeing 15 to 30 second clips of somebody doing something, and who knows how long they were there to get warmed up or whatever it is that they may be on in regards to pre-workout or whatever thing. So with that being said, you have to look at what you're looking at in totality of possibilities of what's being seen, what's being shown. Are the weights even real? Are the weights even real? Are the weights even real? This is a question that I ask a lot of times when I'm watching workout videos and when I start getting into that comparison type of thing, because there's so many things that are fake out there to a point to where I turned off the likes on some of my posts, or pretty much my posts from here on out, or at least I can't see them, and I'm trying to set them up to where you can't see them. Not even so much from a comparison standpoint of, I don't want people to see my likes because I may not have a lot of them. No, that's not the reason why I did it. I did it because so many things are fake, and I understand that views can be fake too. So what's the purpose of me even looking at a number that has a possibility of being fake? And same to you, and same to you. So going back to this comparison thing is that we all have to be careful when we're looking at how somebody can push themselves past something. I've seen people record videos at the gym and it looks like they're just really, really getting it in, pause. And they just took the camera out and just recorded that one movement and then moved on to something else. And they didn't do anything else leading up to there. It was just to look cute for camera. So I said all that to say is that just be careful of what you watch. Just be careful of what you watch. If you think somebody is executing an exercise so fluently, so effectively, and it looks like they don't get tired, and they probably didn't even do a full workout leading up to that. There is a chance, and there's a chance that they did. They're just recording what's within their set. That's cool too. But we're all on this path to gain muscle and be stronger. Let me clarify. Be stronger, improve our quality of life, and have some form of success in our fitness journey, right? But there's so many ways to go about it. There's so many ways to do it, and it can get confusing and it can get overwhelming, but you are not helpless at all. You are not helpless at all. Get out of that mentality of, I don't have any help. I don't know what to do. Use Google. Use Google. Simple. Mm-hmm. Use Google and get at least closer to the answer if you can't get the full answer. Use your resources out there. Ask questions. There are plenty of fitness influencers or whatever you want to call them, creators out there. Message them. And if they don't message back, go on to somebody else. Message me. Send me an email. Comment on my video if you have a question, because the resources are there. The resources are there. I think a lot of times we get into this pride thing that we don't want to talk. We don't want to communicate. We only want to communicate with somebody who we feel that we can attack, where we feel that if they're doing something wrong from our POV, point of view, POV, is that's the only time we want to engage. The only time we want to engage is we feel like we can critique. And that's not a good way to go about living in 2023 from here on out. We're all adults, right? So just ask questions. Just ask questions. Just ask questions. And there are some who are listening to my voice, whether it be you or your friend who may need some guidance, right? There's no problem with needing some guidance of, man, I really want to increase my strength, but sometimes I don't have it. I need somebody to push me. I need somebody to tell me that I can do it. I get it. And that is a part of my job. And I don't just say, oh, you can do it as a fictitious thing. No, I really see in people when they're really trying, they're really pushing themselves. They're really trying to get that last rep up, or they're trying to just hold on for 30 seconds running on the treadmill, and they don't want to give up because they want to prove something to themselves. They want to prove something to their children or their significant other, whether it be, I want to be there for my children long term or be there for my mate long term, whatever that motivation is. Whatever that motivation is, I have plenty of workout tutorials, meal prep tutorials. I can write workout programs. I even do one-on-one personal training, and I will have my link in the show notes in the description box, christiansweightsuccess.net. You can go there to view all of my training options. If you are somebody who are looking for a personal trainer, and especially in the Peoria, Illinois area, I really like one-on-one training because I get to know people. I get to know what pushes them. I get to know what their motivations are, and I get to see it up close and personal. And I get it over and over again that If it wasn't for you, I probably wouldn't have did this. If it wasn't for you, I wouldn't have been able to do a push-up. If it wasn't for you just constantly yelling and pushing, I wouldn't have been able to run that mile. And these are victories that nobody else can take from you. So once you're ready to start achieving those type of victories, then go ahead and hit me up. And this brings us to the end of another episode of the Success Fitness Podcast. And if you found inspiration, then please sign up to my weekly newsletter, the Success Fitness Newsletter. You will get 10% off of my successfitnessstore.com store, my merch store. I got more weight beanie hats, more weight sweaters and hoodies and t-shirts, and also my more coffee mugs. So go ahead and go to successfitnessstore.com to purchase yours. But before you go there, you can get a 10% discount code by signing up to my weekly newsletter, the Success Fitness Newsletter, and I will have that link in the description. And also, you will also get access to my private Facebook group, Success Fitness Family, and along with a free workout ebook, So go ahead and sign up below, and you also get weekly notifications for when this podcast publishes every Sunday at 12 a.m. Central Standard Time. I'm sorry, 12 p.m. I switched it a few months ago. First, I was dropping it at midnight, but now give people a little time to wake up and get the algorithm going. So 12 p.m. Central Standard Time. And I do appreciate you taking time out to listen to the Success Fitness Podcast. I wish you peace and blessings in this new month of May, And if any situation and if anything is not making you stronger, simply chant more weight, more weight, more weight. Peace out. Thank you for sticking to the end of the podcast. I really appreciate it. So going right into what's been going on with me today, it is actually May the 4th, 2023. May the 4th be with you for all my Star Wars geeks out there. I still got to finish The Mandalorian. I still have to finish this is season 3. I believe they had the season finale. I believe it was 8 episodes. I'm not for sure, but either way, I have to finish that. I may watch some Star Wars, probably episode. What is that? Not episode 3, episode 6. When Darth and Obi-Wan, well, Anakin and Obi-Wan have their final fight. That was always a good one for me. But May the 4th, 2023, and today is day 52 of my juice fast. Now, I've been thinking about the labeling of it. Should I call it juice fast or juice puree fast? Because I've been eating puree food, right? Fires for like soups, right? So last week I cooked a smoked turkey leg in the crock pot, right? Cooked it down until I was able to debone, and took the meat off of it and threw it in the blender, threw it in with the broth that was in there, and threw it in with some riced cauliflower, blended it up for about 10 minutes with some seasonings and some garlic or whatever, and it turned out perfect. And it made me really think. I'm like, it kind of gave the texture as if I used cream. If I used like whipping cream. In some soups, you're instructed to use whipping cream to give it that velvety feel, right? But it was good. Compared to now, from my first initial juice fast, like I didn't know anything about like protein and the need for protein and what it does to your body, far as for post-workout recovery and just recovering for your body. And the older you get, the more you understand the need for protein. And there's different proteins out there, plant-based proteins that are alternative to quote unquote meat or whatever. But I'm not one to go vegan. I'm not one to say fully adapt a plant-based life. I believe everything's in balance. Don't get me wrong. And the older you get, you realize how much you need to increase your vegetables. Now, this is not a debate, and it won't be a debate, and I won't take up a debate about, plant-based versus, meat-based or keeping it in. Listen, this is my fitness journey. And if somebody else is on their fitness journey, it's not anybody's job to tell them what they should and shouldn't do unless that person requested it one way, or another, right? So either way, so I didn't know if I really want to call it a juice fast or a puree fast, whatever. Say short and sweet, and I can explain it later. But I am officially down 37 pounds right now. Today is day 52. I think last time I checked in with you last week, I was somewhere minus 28, somewhere around if I can recall right. And I'm literally looking at my notes right now. I document down everything that I do. I try to. Some days are better than the others, and some days are worse than the others. But I got up today at 5 o'clock. At 5:45, I drank some coffee. I've been drinking coffee with honey. Sometimes I drink it with almond milk, but today was just honey and just coffee. And that's about probably about 8-ounce cup. 8-ounce cup, and then I started running on the treadmill. I'm back to running on the treadmill. Got 3 miles in today in 30 minutes, and I felt good about that. And then after that, I weighed in, and I weighed 2 pounds less than I did yesterday morning, and overall down 37. So I'm close to being down 40. I'm really close to being down 40. The other numbers that I'm looking at, my body fat percentage is going down. Right now it's at 25.7. I want to get down to 18. I've been down to 18 at one point in time, but my fat-free body weight, lean muscle mass, is 239 pounds, right? And I'm just looking at all these different numbers on my Renfo scale app that I have, that the scale that I weigh myself with every morning. So I will have that Amazon link in the description. And after that, I drank a half gallon of water. That's been my strategy to get my gallon of water in, is just drink as much as I can, literally as much as I can before my stomach explodes right after I finish running. If I can get that down in the morning, then I'll save the other half for the rest of the evening, or I'll take it with me to finish off at the gym here in a little bit. And then I had a juice. As a matter of fact, I had a juice of apples, cucumber, celery, and spinach. And that is what right now it's getting close to 11 o'clock. It's getting close to 11 o'clock. And this is actually my second juice. Now that I think about it, my first juice that I had probably maybe about an hour ago, because I had a client. I have pineapples, cabbage, sweet potatoes, and tomatoes. And I need to write this down, in lemon. It was a kind of what you would call a junk juice, where you had just random stuff in the fridge. But I feel good. I feel great. My plan is to go to until May 26th, my niece's birthday and her graduation. And she just sent me a message last night. So let me get off of here because she wants me to order her cake. So I will check back in with you next week. Peace out.